Well, hello there, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to The Real Football Fans in New Jersey. This is episode 238. Katie,
Woo!
how you feeling on this 238th episode and this snowy, but I guess it's kind of rainy now evening?
Yeah, I've got rain over by me now. I really and truly thought we were going to go this whole winter in New Jersey with, at least in our area, without snow. And I even said that my parents live in South Carolina, and I was talking to my mom on the phone the other day, and I put that out into the universe. I was like, I don't think we're getting snow this winter. And then I called her before, like earlier today, and I was like, I put it out into the universe. It's snowing.
So, Katie, you are not the only one. I literally said on Monday, haven't had a lot of snow. I wonder when it's going to hit us.
Yeah.
And boom, 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 boom. Here it comes on
It's
this
so it's
Wednesday.
not a lot though. And like you said, like now it's raining.
Yeah, it is raining. And I looked back before and it looks like there's like patches now of like green. So we got a decent amount, honestly, of snow today, I thought. And now it's just getting
Well, a little bit.
washed away. So if anyone is traveling tomorrow morning early, please be careful because all that means is that this
Ice.
rain, ice, everything like
Yeah.
that. So if you are on the East Coast, and who knows if you're getting snow all over the world right now, please be careful tomorrow morning.
Yes.
But we are coming off a, really exciting weekend with the divisional round, and we're going to get into that tonight and a couple of other things with football, with Housewives, obviously the latest and greatest for all of you. But we asked you guys some poll questions before the show tonight. And as always, you guys delivered on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys, as always, for engaging with us. So we asked you 3 different questions, 2 football, 1 Housewives. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah.
So who do you think will win the AFC Championship game? We've got the number 1 seed, the Kansas City Chiefs, or the number 3 seed, the Cincinnati Bengals. 72% of you went with the Cincinnati Bengals. So a little bit of an upset there. So I like that, seeing some goodness there. Obviously, Katie and I will not share with you our thoughts here because we are going to give you our picks later in the episode. So if you're watching live, stay tuned. If you're listening to the podcast, you can fast forward. I don't know what the timestamp is. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes or so. You can fast forward if you get our picks. But yes, I like a little bit of the upset there. So good.
I'm feeling like this is not like, yes, it is 1 versus 3, but I'm feeling like this is not an upset anymore. I think the Bengals are the favorite. And I think the main factor in that one has to do with Patrick Mahomes being a little bit banged up. But of course, we'll talk about that later on.
All right, and then we're just swapping over to the NFC. So who do you think will win the NFC Championship game? Number 1, Philadelphia, or number 2, the San Francisco 49ers? 60% of you went with San Francisco. So again, you're looking at seed-wise, a little bit of an upset, but I do think, San Francisco's hot, but, you do have a good Philly team, so it's a little bit lower than the 72% we saw earlier at 60%, so...
Yeah, I think this one is a little bit closer, a little bit tougher for people to decide. But here we go. We've got, you guys are thinking Cincinnati and San Fran. That's both road teams. So
yeah,
very interesting. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head when the last time it was that both road teams went on to the Super Bowl. So we will see what happens.
We definitely have to look at that statistic, but I got to tell you, and not just the playoffs, like this season in general, I feel like road games for teams have been very exciting. And I don't know what the data is. So if anyone following is like a data guru with the NFL, I want to know how many road games were won this year, because I know for the Giants, we went out and we won some good road games. But I feel like across the league, we saw some pretty big matchups on the road that ended up in victories with the visiting team. So I don't know. It was a weird season altogether. So maybe that one in there. So, but it's funny though to say a weird season when we're seeing 3 teams come, visit back, and we've got the Eagles and things like that. So definitely a weird.
Also, like we're saying it's such a weird season, but at the end of the day, we're down to 4 teams. 2 of those are 1 seeds. We got a 2 seed and we got a 3 seed. So like as unpredictable of a year it was, like we're down to 4 teams that were sort of predictable.
I expected a weird AF Final Four, to be honest.
So did I. Like, I guess maybe that's what made it unpredictable is we were
Right.
expecting it to be more unpredictable.
Yeah. Oh, you failed us, NFL. We expected so much weirder. But, all right, finally wrapping up with Housewives here. If you could save only one Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast member, who would you choose? Meredith Marks or Heather Gay? 61% of you went with Meredith. Katie, we can actually share our thoughts on this one. I think we were the same.
So this one was really hard for me though. If this had been after we're on season 3 of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
If this had been after 2 seasons, I would have said Heather. It would have been easy because Meredith, we loved her the season 1. We didn't enjoy her as much season 2. And you and I always said, oh, Heather has always been the constant for us. Like, she's never disappointed us. She's never like pissed us off. And I got to say, like, I think I'm maybe 1 or 2 episodes behind right now in Salt Lake City season 3. But Heather's been kind of annoying this year. And I know a lot of people online I've seen.
I've heard,
way. And Meredith has been fine. Like she's been, I'm not going to say she's been like the Meredith of season 1 where like we just like loved her, but she hasn't done anything that by any means that has made me feel like annoyed with her or anything like that. So it kind of came down to almost like, you know, when in the NFL, they're like, well, it's a business. It's a business. We have to make a business decision. I'm making a business decision and I'm saving Heather because I do feel like she is, I said it like an episode or 2 ago on here. I feel like she is kind of the face of the franchise for Salt Lake City. Yeah. Meredith is really close. But I feel like, you know, when you have that woman who's like sitting right next to Andy at the reunion, or she's the one like holding the apple, like right in the center. Like I feel like that's Heather for Salt Lake City. So I went with her.
Listen, I 100% agree with you. And I don't think I could say it any better. So that's it there. Definitely Heather as well. So we do disagree with a lot of you guys here.
It's close though. It's really close for me.
Yeah. So those are our poll questions. Obviously, as always, thank you guys so much for engaging with us. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter right now. I did drop the YouTube link on my personal Twitter if you guys prefer to watch us over there. It's a little bit easier to engage, but engage with us throughout the episode. We're here to answer your questions. If you have any hot takes, we're always willing to look at those. And then any commentary that you have throughout the show is we're sharing ours. So I'd love to talk to you guys, and thanks for watching. Let's move it along.
Let's do it. So we are getting into our big stories of the week in the world of football. And I actually love this first one because it is almost like we're going to get to play 2 games tonight.
Oh, I know. I was so happy about that. 2 games.
We are going to be talking NFL fact or fiction. So on Monday, Adam Shine wrote an article for NFL.com after the completion of the divisional round games. And he made 9 statements where he determined if he thought those statements were fact or fiction. We're going to share Adam's answers. Plus, we are going to give you our own. So he's kind of examining those 8 teams from the divisional round. We have 9 statements here. Let's kick it off with number 1. So statement number 1 is the home teams are poised to win on Championship Sunday, which is funny because we just polled you guys and you have the road teams winning. Caitlin and I are also not going to give our answers for this one either, but we will give you our answers for the rest of them. Adam's answer is fiction, and he has gone on to say that he has picked both road teams, Cincinnati and San Fran, who advanced to the Super Bowl. So Adam agrees with, our voters on our poll. So very interesting there. Statement number 2, Mahomes Burrow is the new Manning Brady. And Adam said fact. Caitlin, how do you feel about this one?
I'm going to go with fiction. I think that, Katie, we are fortunate enough right now where there's so many exciting young quarterbacks and there's so much talent in there because you could put Josh Allen in there. You could put Lamar Jackson in there. You know, I'm hoping things turn around a little bit for Justin Herbert. I know this wasn't the best season for him, but then you even look at
dude still finished top 5 in every like statistical category. So he's fine.
Absolutely. And we're looking at, a great second season from, Trevor Lawrence. You look at even someone like Daniel Jones, who really picked his shit up this season. Like, I just think that at the time of Manning Brady, they were really like the standout stars. And it
Yeah.
was that kind of like constant head to head. I just think that we are so lucky to see such a really, really awesome quarterback room across the board here. So I got to go fiction on this one.
Yeah, I know exactly where Adam was going with this. And he was going in the sense that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady met so many times
Right.
in the AFC Championship game. And this is going to be like I believe, the third time that, well, Mahomes and Burrow have met before, obviously, in the AFC Championship game. I think they've gone head to head like 3 times. I think at this point now, Cincinnati is 3-0. And so, we're getting them again against each other in the AFC Championship game. So part of me wants to say fact because I get where he's going with that.
Right.
But I am going to go fiction because I do feel weird specifically leaving out Josh Allen in that mix. I'm not convinced, or I can't really necessarily sit here and say how to order those, like put those 3 quarterbacks 1, 2, and 3. You know what I mean? So it feels weird. It would be weird if we were going to say Josh Allen and Mahomes is the new, Manning and Brady. And then it's like, well, we're leaving out Burrow. I feel like they're like the 3-headed monster in the AFC. Those are the guys that I'm afraid of the most. They're like 3 of the most, if not the most talented quarterbacks in the league right now. So I get where he was going with it, but I've got to go fiction. We can't leave out Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, statement number 3, the Bills Super Bowl window is closed. Adam said fiction.
Oh my God, fiction. The most aggravating thing that I've seen this week, Katie, is nothing to do with the New York Giants, what people have been saying this week. It's been what people are saying about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Like, oh my gosh, pump the brakes, guys. And it's some of them, it's coming from their fans. You are such a talented organization right now. Josh Allen is a phenomenal quarterback. You will regret if all your dreams come true that you're saying this week, kick him to the curb, kick Sean McDermott to the curb, kick everything like this. Just stop. This is so fictional. It's not even funny.
Yeah. Fiction. Definitely fiction. I think Josh Allen is so incredibly talented. I do believe he's a top 3 quarterback in the league. He really has to fix the turnovers.
Yeah,
he does. That's an issue. He's got to fix that. That's not going to, you can't have that next year. But with that being said, he's still always playing at an MVP caliber level. My only thing is like I've picked the Bills, I think the last 2 years to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So their window is not closed, but it feels very disappointing that they're not getting there. They to me, going into this season, were going to be the number 1 team. I thought they were going to be the team to beat. Not just in the AFC, across the board. And I just feel
I just think it shows how competitive the NFL has become.
It does. But I'm also feel damn, Buffalo, you got to get to the Super Bowl because you're talented enough. You're scary enough of a team. You've got this MVP quarterback. And the fact that it's one thing when every year when Dallas doesn't make it to the Super Bowl, it's we all expect that.
We all expect, yeah.
But the Bills not having the team that they have and not getting there, it's oh my God, you got to get there. You got to get there. So it's not closed, but those windows only stay open so long for certain teams. I mean, we're not going to see the New England Patriots where for however long they were always, it's hard to do. So they got to take advantage of the team that they have, and they got to take advantage of it right now.
Yep.
All right, number 4, the Eagles swagger is back. Adam said fact.
I'm going fiction on this one. It's been one season. I understand when the Eagles are scary, it's and we see them all the time. It's not something you want to go up against. You look at their fan base, you look at everything across the board. When they're good, it's not something you really want to come across. You don't even want to go across them when they stink, to be honest. But I gotta tell you, Katie, I think they had more swagger in that Super Bowl season where no one expected them to go through and win with Nick Foles.
Maybe.
Right now, they're one of the best teams in this league. One of the best records, and I just don't think that type of swagger is there. And if they come out next season, same thing. No matter what happens this weekend or potentially in the Super Bowl, if they make it, I don't know. I still got to see like maybe one more like positive season for them to see that like quote unquote swagger.
Yeah, I guess I didn't look at it like long term, and I'm just talking about right now. So I did say fact for right now. I feel like I don't trust any team in the NFC East. Like we never have like repeating division champions
Right.
from like
Yeah.
season to season. So yeah, we could see like the Eagles or the Giants of recent, history more so over the Cowboys and
Right.
Washington win Super Bowls and then, next year or next two miss the playoffs for a while, just
Right.
be kind of an average team. So I kind of agree with you where it's like, I'm not saying Philly's going to be bad next year. It's just, I haven't seen it where they've been consistently like good for
Right.
several seasons. I just think right now, especially unfortunately coming off of the game they just had in the divisional round, I feel like they're feeling themselves and I feel like their swagger is back. All right, number 5, the 49ers defense will be the best unit on Championship Sunday. So this means out of the 4 teams that are left, you're looking at all the teams' defenses and all of their offenses. So which unit do you think is going to be the best? Adam's going fact that it will be the 49ers defense. Caitlin, what do you think?
I'm agreeing with this one. I think a lot of these, and I think it's interesting when you throw the offenses into the mix because I think all 4 teams have like the most unique offenses. Like you really can just like all sit them down and just be like, wow, like each team has something like different to deliver on offense, something different to offer up to you. It's different across the board for all 4 teams, but you look at the defenses and you're just like the Niners are the ones that will literally kick you in the face. They kept it a low scoring game last week. I'm not really sure how much higher it'll get this week. I hope maybe their offense could kick it up a bit, but I just think that shows that their defense stands out and they reign supreme. So I got to go with defense here. So I am agreeing with this, a fact.
All right. Well, before I give you my answer, just so you guys know, with these, looking at all of the units, all 4 teams, offense and defense, with the 4 remaining teams, you have the number 1 defense in San Fran, the number 2 defense with Philly, you have the number 1 offense with Kansas City, and you have the number 3 offense with Philly. So we're looking at really good, like offensive and defensive units with these 4 remaining teams. I'm going to go fiction, and it pains me to say this, and I'll get into it further, but I'm going to go with Philly defense.
Yeah,
sorry.
They are good, though. They are good.
They're good. All right, number 6, the Jaguars will be back. And Adam said fact.
I'm going with fact on this one, too. I think they've proved it that, and back isn't, going to win the Super Bowl next year, but I think back is getting on the board. And this is coming from someone I ranked them as the worst team coming into this season. I think we even did a couple weeks in and I still ranked them at 32. So listen, you guys got me to stick my foot in my mouth. So good for you guys.
I'm going facts. They should win the division. They're totally capable of winning the division again next year.
They are.
And the years to come. You've got a young quarterback. You've got your head coach. You've got a great running back. Like you've got pieces. They can be successful. It's not really a strong division. They can win that division, going forward and make the playoffs. And that to me would say the Jaguars are back.
Yeah.
All right. Number 7, the Giants must bring back Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Adam said fiction. And he said fiction because he said the price has to be right with their contracts.
So I am agreeing with Adam on this one because of his little asterisk. For me, I personally think that the Giants need to bring both of them back from a talent perspective, from just kind of like an overall team mentality perspective, leadership and things like that. But I gotta say, the price and what really we've been shooting ourselves in the foot in years past with, I don't think Dave Gettleman did a really good job with restructuring contracts and signing certain people and things like that. So Joe Shane has a lot on his plate, and he really needs to look at these two individuals.
Yeah.
And, Adam's absolutely correct. If the price is right, we have to bring both of them back. If it's not, though, unfortunately, we're going to have to say, at this point, we're going to have to say goodbye to one of them if we're not meeting our true numbers. So, because again, look at us last season. It was scraping the bottom of the barrel. And fortunately for us, we're going to now we have one of the highest caps. But that took like over a year and a half to get to. So we got to be very, very smart. And I think Joe Shane is smart. And we've been saying it all season long, Katie. We trust his decision-making. We trusted Brian Daboll's decision-making. So it might be hard these coming weeks and coming months, but we're going to have some decisions and they will be made.
I'm going fact. I'm going to say that they must bring them back. And of course, I understand your asterisk and Adam's asterisk with it. I think the issue, especially if we're going to talk about that asterisk and the price of the contract, I'm looking more so at Daniel Jones, because I'm saying to myself, okay, if we don't want to pay Daniel Jones, whatever, and we part ways with him, right? Mm-hmm. Well, who are we bringing in? We've got the 25th pick in the NFL draft. I don't think we're getting our next franchise quarterback there. No. I don't necessarily think the Giants want to start over with a rookie quarterback. I know I don't. Then you're looking at the free agents. I think quarterback wise, there's not that much to choose from. We broke down free agents. We ranked the top 3-5 positions. I forget who my top 3 were. I know your top 3 was Lamar Jackson, Daniel Jones, and Geno Smith. Lamar Jackson is going to demand a frick ton more money than Daniel Jones will, so he's out of the mix.
Geno Smith might ask for money.
Smith, I think, is probably maybe going to be on par with Daniel Jones' money. So to me, it's like, I think we don't have the options. I think you must bring back Daniel Jones. Now, Saquon is tough. And, he can demand top running back money because he is one of the top running backs in the NFL. That makes me a little bit nervous. I heard his one interview where he was saying, like, I'm going to be realistic. I'm not trying to come out and set the new, market for running backs. So I appreciate that. But I think that's more so you got to bring him back because he's like the face of the franchise. He's your veteran. He's your leader. He's like your heart and soul of the New York Giants. Yeah. You got to bring both of these guys back.
Yeah. All
right. Number 8, the Cowboys should make a coaching change. Adam said fiction.
Listen, I do not like Mike McCarthy and everything he's doing in Dallas. I said fact on this one. Listen, if the Giants can recycle people left and right and have the season they did this year by finally finding someone, I think Jerry Jones can move some people around there. So I'm not saying it is the strategy because I know the two of us disagree with just recycling people after one season. But I think Mike McCarthy's been there long enough it's over in my opinion. I don't like him. I hated that. We'll get into it later. I hated that last call that he made, and he didn't have a response to it. What are you doing, dude? Games on the line, playoffs here. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. A coach should not be making that decision.
Yeah, I'm going fact. I'm not super convinced or super sold that Mike McCarthy is this really good NFL head coach. And I specifically put that I think it's kind of weird to get rid of a coach who brings you to the playoffs. But Mike McCarthy also brought the Green Bay Packers to the playoffs every single season. But eventually Green Bay parted ways with him because he couldn't win the big games. And the same exact thing is happening with him in Dallas. So it's if Green Bay was this isn't cutting it, I don't think this is cutting it either for the Dallas Cowboys. So I got to go fact on this.
Yeah.
Last but not least is another Cowboys one. Dak Prescott isn't the quarterback to take Dallas to the Super Bowl. Adam is saying fact.
Katie, I'm saying fact too. And I gotta tell you, this was the happiest one to put fact next to. We could shit on every NFC East team, all their players. We could be biased and be I hate them, all this stuff. Dak Prescott sincerely proved to me this year that he is not the guy. I do not believe in him in any way, shape, or form. You cannot come off a 5-game stretch where you did not play and then lead the league in interceptions. That is not it. That means you're making stupid decisions. You're not connecting with your all-star offense. You have a kick-ass offense. I don't want to hear excuses. I would kill for the offense and the defense that the Dallas Cowboys have. And look at what Daniel Jones did with God knows who he's throwing to over the right-hand side, left-hand side. Who even knows who's in the end zone at that point? He threw it to every person that had their hands wide open. And Dak Prescott can't even make a solid play to CeeDee Lamb to pass it off successfully to Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott. Give me a goddamn break. I don't believe it's him. And I think this season really, truly proved it.
I'm going fiction.
That was not my get it off my chest. It was very passionate.
I'm going fiction. I'm kind of looking at the league across the board, and I'm looking at like how many teams have really subpar quarterbacks.
That is fair.
So I'm looking at it more so in like a broad scope and being like, it's really hard to win a Super Bowl unless you have one of those better quarterbacks. Right. And I do think that Dak does fall into the category of like, yes, you're certain that he's your team's franchise quarterback. He's capable of winning. He's capable of putting up good stats. Yes, we're not seeing the success in the postseason. We also never saw that success from Tony Romo. And yeah, they never won a Super Bowl, but you didn't part ways from Tony Romo. I just don't see them. I don't think they should part ways with Dak. I look at him and I look at so many other teams' quarterback situations, and they would kill to have Dak Prescott to try to have a shot at the postseason, at the Super Bowl. I'm going fiction on this.
Whew, I love having a game mid-episode. That was good. And it's honestly, we are at a point, Katie, where we're going, there's 4 teams left. But we just dissected so many different things that.
Yeah. And it kind of helped us also. We're about to talk about the divisional round. It kind of helps us break down the divisional round a bit and what those teams are going to look like going forward.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get in.
Yes.
We had a quite the weekend here. So listen, Patrick Mahomes hit a right ankle injury, but they ended up winning 27-20 over Jacksonville, and they're going to their 5th straight AFC Championship game. So Patrick Mahomes has been practicing this week. There was video footage of him actually practicing today to kind of like use some speculations and things like that. He actually was practicing. So I got to tell you, I'm a little nervous for him on Sunday, but he seemed to be in a lot of pain. But I know we were both joking, like an injured Patrick Mahomes is probably better than many other people out there. Yep. So some people want that. I would take that. So we'll see what happens. But I truly hope that he is okay, because if they move on to the Super Bowl, you got to be 100%. So that's clearly the big game. Mm-hmm. So really, really rough game for the New York Giants. But Philadelphia led the game 28-0 at halftime. They ended up beating the New York Giants 38-7, 2 passing touchdowns and one rushing touchdown from quarterback Jalen Hurts. So they really locked up the game. I said last week that they had to get up three scores ahead of us early. They did 4. They did 4 ahead of us early. Yeah. So you're welcome for giving you guys that game plan. So there you go. But really tough game. It sucks to end the season, but a lot of positives came from our season. So I'm going to. Yeah.
I think the best thing Giants fans can do is take a step back and look at the season as a whole. And if someone were to tell you before the season started that you would make the playoffs, not only make the playoffs, but win a playoff game, you would number one, you wouldn't believe it, but number 2, you would be absolutely ecstatic. And so, yes, this is disappointing, especially being against Philly, but I kind of got over my being sad pretty quickly, because I'm like, wow, we weren't even supposed to be here.
I know.
You know what I mean? And I look at the talent on Philly's roster compared to what we have, and that doesn't make me feel so bad either, because I'm like, if we had those
Right.
kind of stars and then we lost 38-7, then
That
I would feel
sucks.
much worse. But we
Right.
were out there like, trying to make things happen with what we had. And it's okay. I can live with that.
Yeah. So we move on. All right, Cincinnati, they're going to their second straight AFC championship game because they beat the Buffalo Bills 27-10. So
I don't think anybody in America had that
No.
final score.
no. And if you did, let us know. And I want to see
You won
receipts.
a lot of money.
You did. You lost a lot of money. We want to see receipts. So yeah, but they're going back to, they've got that same matchup from last year. So we're getting a repeat AFC championship game with Cincinnati and Kansas City.
Yep.
All right, San Francisco quarterback Brock Purdy is just the fifth rookie quarterback to make a conference championship game because the Niners beat Dallas. Thank you. 19-12. So pretty low scoring game there. So, and then, unfortunately, Dallas did lose running back Tony Pollard to an ankle injury. So we definitely saw a little bit of a miss there. And then also, too, Dak Prescott, like I mentioned earlier, the interceptions. He had 2 interceptions in this game. And then we did get a missed extra point by Brett Maher. I don't know how, but he was, Katie, this is so mind-boggling. He's on point for his field goals. You put this kid like 60 yards away, nails it. You put him right up against the freaking goal, and he's like, nah, I don't want to make this.
It was such a mental battle. Like, it really
You
was.
saw it in his face. When he missed it, I texted you, and I was like, he's seeing ghosts. Like, he just like, it was like unheard of what he had just done. But then he went to 2 field goals in a row that he nailed from like 40 yards. Like, he did such a good job there. So it's really sucks. But I don't think anyone was ready to actually accept that, but he did do that. So really, really interesting weekend. I thought the Sunday slate was a lot better, obviously, putting all bias aside of our tremendous loss on Saturday night.
We had 2 lopsided games. We had a good game on Saturday, and we had 1 good game on Sunday, and the other 2 were lopsided. And so overall, I do feel like we ended, though, with a good one. Like that Dallas Niners game, Dallas had a chance to still win it at the very end of the game. Like, so that was one of the better, if not the best game of the weekend.
I must say, even though the score was 27-10, I did enjoy the Buffalo-Cincinnati game because that score is not particularly close, but I felt like the whole time, like it was a close game.
Well, it's because the whole time you were on the edge of your seat waiting for Buffalo to come back and make it a game because you knew it was the Buffalo Bills, and it just didn't end up happening.
And I got to tell you, there was definitely all of America was watching, and probably the world, our game, and they were probably like, oh shit, 14-0, let's go home.
I still have my Saturday night left. Let's go out.
I mean, honestly, at that point, funny story from that. So we all know my boyfriend is an Eagles fan, so we got to shut that side. He went to the game, and a Giants fan actually sat next to him during the game. Gets into the stadium, actually passed out before kickoff, got too drunk, passed out, slept on the entire game. I got a picture received to me midway through the game claiming that this was a Giants fan. He's been sleeping the whole time. And I texted back, I go, you know what? I wish I were that man right now.
Must be nice to not be awake feeling the pain.
He missed so he does not have a memory of the game. I was just like, you know what?
I feel bad that he spent that money on that ticket just to sleep, just to take a nice nap.
I go, wow, must be nice to just not even watch this misery right now. Wow. So funny story from that.
Oh my God. Well, let's get into, I'm dying to hear these. Let's get into our AFC NFC championship game picks. We've just got 2 games to choose from. You guys gave us your picks on our poll results. Now it's time that you hear from us. And of course, in our game, we will break down our scores, our MVPs, our keys to the game. But for right now, just straight up, Caitlin, who are you taking this weekend?
All right. Well, I can't even say we're starting on Sunday. It is Sunday. So we're starting at the early matchup. For the NFC Championship, I'm going with the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
And for the AFC Championship, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right.
So I'm on the road with our listeners and Adam Shine. And Adam Shine.
All right. Okay.
Who do you got?
In the early game on Sunday, in the NFC Championship game, I am going with, and I'll give my explanation why after I give both of my picks. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh my God, is your husband killing you?
No, I already broke that news to him, and he told me he understood why I was saying what I was saying.
Oh, such a healthy
And
relationship.
then in the AFC Championship game, I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, so we got one.
Yeah, of course, we're going to break it down further of like why we think this and what the keys are. I will say that before I really dove into my answers for our game, I kind of had in my head already who I thought I was going to pick. And I was pretty positive I was going to pick Philly without doing any reading, without looking at other people's picks, nothing. I said, you know what? You know, when you just get that gut feeling that something bad is going to happen to you? Well, the Philadelphia Eagles going to the Super Bowl would be really bad for me. And I've got a gut feeling that it's going to come to fruition. So I was like, this is the universe, and the universe doesn't like me, and they're going to put the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. So that was one of my reasons for picking them.
It would make my life a goddamn hell.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we got.
All right. Well, we do have one we agree on. So either way, though, I think this weekend is going to be great. As Katie said, we are going to get into it. We are going to map out each matchup a little bit later on. So,
yes.
All right, let's do some Housewives talk here real quick. So we've got some rumored new cast member, a rumored new cast member for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yes. So we've got some rumors swirling going on right now that there's going to be a new cast member joining Beverly Hills for season 13. Her name is Ida. I think that's how you pronounce it. Ada. It's Ayda.
I would say Ida.
Ida. I don't know. I can't.
Well, yeah, we don't know.
Ada Field, and she is a friend of Crystal, who's on the show right now, as well of wife of singer Robbie Williams. She is the wife, of Robbie Williams. She has 4 children with there. So she's a Turkish-American actress. So Turkish-American, we think of Jennifer Aiden here, obviously.
Oh, I didn't think of that, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She is known for appearances on Days of Our Lives and The British X Factor. I do not know her from British X Factor, but and I don't watch soap operas. I don't know Days of Our Lives, but her face kind of has that like familiarity to it. So it definitely, I don't think I've ever watched British X Factor. I believe One Direction was on British X Factor. So that's what I know from them years ago. Like 10 plus years ago. But like I could see, yeah. So if you guys look her up, she definitely has like that familiar face. So it probably is from Days of Our Lives.
Yeah. She's been on other things too. Those are just kind of like the ones that you would maybe recognize for the most part.
So Beverly Hills, obviously, they had a cast shakeup with Lisa Rinna and Diana Jenkins leaving. But we're going to see Erica Jane, Garcelle Davis, Sutton Strack, Dorit Kemsley, and Crystal appear to be returning for this next season. Kyle Richards, a little bit up in the air here. She had made some comments indicating that her time on the show may be up soon. Who knows? That might just be a dramatic thing. So listen, I mean, yeah, that's if Kyle isn't there, you've got 4 or 5 girls. Obviously, you're going to have to pull someone into the mix, I think. But
losing Kyle, like if you lost Kyle,
that would be massive.
Lisa, like those are like whether you love them or hate them, they're staples. Like those are big time players. And then you're also losing Diana there. So that could potentially be 3 total. You absolutely need to fill some spots here.
That would be massive.
So we'll see. It seems like every franchise is having a casting shakeup, but we'll see how we need some. I feel like in the past, Bravo was really bad with their new cast members, like really bad. Yeah. Like they would be one and done. So I do feel like they've been a bit better over the last couple of years across the board. So we'll see. We'll see if Ada fits the bill with the Beverly Hills girls.
We shall see.
But speaking of cast members or potential cast members, on Saturday, an article for 2fab.com came out listing
Great
8
website.
celebrities who almost joined the Real Housewives. We have, of course, heard so many names
Yeah.
over the years being rumored, but the 8 that we're going to give you actually, have some backup proof to it a little bit that they have once been considered for the show. So we're going to go through this list of these 8 women, recognizable names. We are going to reveal from that list who we would most want to see, and then also give you a little bonus of what celebrity is not on that list that you think would make a good Real Housewives. So the ones that have been considered, the 8, they include actress Julia Fox. I don't know Julia Fox from any TV show or movie or anything like that, other than the fact that she was like that first one to kind of sort of date Kanye West after him and Kim Kardashian got divorced. That's
like
what I know her from.
The weirdest person.
She's a little weird. She's a little weird. She revealed she was approached by a producer to appear on The Real Housewives of New York, but at that time said the timing wasn't right for her. So
I literally only know her because of the Kanye West thing too, to be
yeah,
honest.
same. Kobe Bryant's wife, Vanessa Bryant, has turned down several offers to join Real Housewives of Orange County. I do feel like, especially with losing Kobe and everything, I kind of feel like she is a little more private of a person. And so maybe, it's having a private life and being a Real Housewife, they don't mix too well. Okay, so actress Heather Locklear, she is a friend and former co-star of Lisa Rinna's. So her name has popped up in the past. We've got actress Jana Kramer, who claimed her and ex-husband Mike Clausen, who is a former NFL football player, auditioned for the show but never heard back. Those two are
so many ties.
Now divorced. I remember I actually would have been okay back in the day when she was with Mike to see her on the show because she would have a juicy storyline.
Right.
He reportedly cheated on her left and right. He had a sex addiction. They came with a lot of baggage. So they kind of were housewife material, but I think it was more so them fishing to get on the show than it was Bravo being interested in them.
Right, yeah.
Actress Allie Landry, who has been considered for Beverly Hills on several occasions since she is friends with Kyle and Garcelle. Actress Jenny Garth, who said she was approached about a role with Beverly Hills in 2017. We have actress Christy Swanson, who was interviewed for Orange County, but nothing came of it. And lastly, we have actress Marielle Hemingway, who made it through early stages of discussions, but didn't end up working out. Caitlin, who from this list would you have liked to see maybe potentially been on one of these franchises?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing from this list, like you said, there's so many rumors out there always. Yeah. I feel like this list is kind of blah to the rumors we've heard of other people attempting to join. So I guess it just shows that this is who is actually has come close to maybe the finish line or been approached.
Might be the actual realistic names rather than when we hear the exciting names. Those are people just fishing for who they want to see.
Apparently Paris Hilton joining Beverly Hills with her mom, which by the way, she just had a baby. She just announced it today. So excited for Paris Hilton.
Was rumored in the past because she's sort of kind of friends with Melissa Gorga.
Right.
You always hear crazy names in the mix.
Yeah. So I must say from this list, the most attractive one for me to join a franchise, and it doesn't make sense now. So I want people to understand that. But I want to say Vanessa Bryant on this one. Obviously when Kobe was alive, I think it would have been, a lot. I wouldn't want to do that to her now. That's the thing. I would never want to impede on someone's life now, especially hers. I do think when Kobe was alive, though, it would have been very interesting. I've always wanted to tap into their family a little bit more. I love the story, of his daughters with, playing sports and things like that. Would we have gotten a little bit more into that? Maybe she would have been kind of the housewife that, you and I rooted for, things like that. So are we just doing the one from this list first?
Yeah, we can do mine. I also said Vanessa Bryant. Yeah. This is kind of going off the mix of our show. I'm a sports fan. We're sports fans. Kobe is Kobe. And so, yes, Vanessa Bryant, she's not an actress. She's not a model. Right. She's Kobe Bryant's wife. But we are sports fans. And I feel as though the actresses that we do have on this list, they're not A-list or maybe necessarily even B-list actresses, like big names that you would be super pumped and excited for. I think Heather Locklear is pretty big, but a lot of these other names are just like, okay. I'm going to go with Vanessa Bryant.
Yeah.
Okay, who is not on this list of celebrities? Maybe the ones we have heard out there that seem outlandish or like, oh, they're never going to happen, but we wish. Yeah. Who are you going with?
All right, so hear me out on both of these right here. So the first one is basically I picked her because she got very intimate, like with her family and like, her life on social media, like when COVID happened, which a lot of people did. But she's too sweet, so I don't know if she would survive. I'm going with Reese Witherspoon. I love Reese Witherspoon. And Katie, she has opened her doors like prior to during COVID. And like, she's got a great TikTok account, like her Instagram, everything like that. I think it's wild that her daughter looks just like her. It's really scary. They're twins. So I just like, she gives you like a little bit on, I want more. But again, I think she's too like sweet. Like I think they'd eat her alive, but like I really would like to see like more of her. So like that one's a little out there and a little wild. And my second one is me being very deep. Like I'm being like the devil here. I want Patrick Mahomes' wife on Housewives so they can eat her alive, Katie. Okay. I don't want to see her every week.
I'm good with that.
They're from Kansas City, so God knows what Housewives she would be on. But I would love for she to go up against like a Vicky, a Lisa Vanderpump, someone like that.
I'm down for that.
A Luann, and for her to get just ripped apart. Because right now she gets ripped apart on social media. I would love for a strong ass independent woman to go up to her and be like, listen, B, and just rip it out of her.
They got to start the Real Housewives of Kansas City, I guess.
So that's my second one because I wanted to tie it to our show somehow. And I was like, you know what? That's a good freaking one.
All right. Well, I know my answer. You are all game for. This is one of those dream scenarios where this name gets thrown out. And she actually has come out and said, yeah, I'd love to join the Housewives. Why not? Actress Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, hell yeah.
On the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's huge right now. She's always been around, but right now she's huge for being on White Lotus. She is cleaning up in award season right now, winning all the awards, and she's just a queen, and she would be absolutely amazing on the Housewives. All right.
So we already played game number 2 for the evening. What will be in the AFC and the NFC?
Yeah.
Obviously, like the last couple of weeks, we are dissecting the playoff games for you. So we're looking at the NFC and AFC championship game matchups this weekend, and we are going to fill in the blank for you these predictions that we've been making each weekend. So let's start with our number 1 Philadelphia Eagles versus the number 2 San Francisco 49ers. This is the matchup, and we're going through a couple different scenarios here. So Katie, the Eagles are going to win if?
The Eagles will win if they make it a nightmare day for Brock Purdy. Purdy had a tough time. I thought he had a little bit of a tough time last week with Dallas's defense. He's going to face an even better Philadelphia defense, especially the pass rush. They've got the third most sacks in NFL history for a single season with 75. Yeah. I'm a little, that makes me very, very worried that some of those sacks, because there will be sacks, you've got to be nervous that, they could turn into turnovers. I think, like I said earlier that I thought Philly defense was going to be the top unit of the weekend. And I think Purdy's going to have a little bit of trouble with them.
Well, Katie, I couldn't agree with you more. And my statement was they're one of the first teams to show Brock Purdy's rookie status.
Yeah. It's going to be hard. It's going to be a real challenge.
All right. The 49ers will win if?
So I'm going to say the 49ers will win if they're able to successfully run the ball and take that pressure off of Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Philadelphia defense surrendered 4.6 yards per carry against the run this year, which was actually 9th worst in the league for, the number 2 defense in the league. And when San Fran averages 4.6 yards per carry, they're 11-3 and have won 6 straight when doing so. So This is going to have to be a Christian McCaffrey game. You're going to have to take that pressure off of Brock Purdy because they're going to be coming after him all game long.
So I'm going defense here. And I did mention that I do think the Niners defense will reign supreme this weekend. So they need, man tight coverage on both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith this entire game. I don't like balls going to them. Obviously, the Giants had a really rough game against, Dallas Goedert last week, tight end, but I think the Niners will be okay there. You got to shut both AJ Brown and Devontae Smith here. Plus, I'm seeing the 3 turnovers from Jalen Smith if this defense is really going to come out and stop them big. So I see a defensive game from the 49ers here.
All right.
The quarterback with the most passing yards will be?
I'm going with Jalen Hurts.
So am I. A lot of weapons around him there. Yeah. The running back with the most receiving yards will be?
The running back with the most receiving yards?
Oh, sorry. Rushing yards.
The running back with the most rushing yards will be, like I said, because it's going to be the key to their game. It's going to be Christian McCaffrey.
I'm going with Christian McCaffrey. And listen, Christian McCaffrey, if you get the most receiving yards, good for you. I mean,
he very well could. He very well could.
Good for you, buddy. All right. The wide receiver with the most receiving yards will be?
I'm going to go with AJ Brown.
And I'm flipping the switch here from wide receiver to tight end. I'm going to go with George Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy loves George Kittle. That's his guy. So listen, I picked Philly. Obviously, you guys know I'm hardcore rooting for the 49ers, and I'd love to see a big game from George Kittle.
All right, the MVP of the game will be?
It's going to be defense for Philly. It's going to be Hassan Reddick.
I do like that pick, especially if they pull the game off and that defense is big. I obviously picked the 49ers, and I think it's just, again, this is a popularity contest and just kind of how he's come so far. If the Niners pull this off, I think Brock Purdy is going to win MVP of this game.
Let's see it. I'd be cool with it. Let's do it.
All right, and the final score of this game will be?
My final score is going to be 24-20 Philly. I do think it is going to be like a little bit more defensive. I don't think it's going to be a shootout. And you know how I said, like, I picked Philly, like, already in my mind because I'm like, that's just, I have a gut feeling that it's going to go bad for me. Yeah. John Breach from CBS Sports, I feel like, summed it up better when he said, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to have a huge game against the 49ers. But I like his chances against San Francisco's defense more than I like Purdy's chances against Philadelphia's defense.
Okay.
So as much as you're saying, like, I think, like, if the Niners win, I think Brock Purdy can be the MVP. And I know you're the key to the game for you for San Fran is their defense. I do like he said, I do like Jalen Hurts' chances against the 49ers defense versus Purdy's against Philly's defense.
All right. And I love that little anecdote there. I thought that was really good. My final score is I'm a little bit lower. Same with you. I'm going 27-17 San Francisco.
All right. I hope you're right, girl.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
We all do.
Please, Katie, be wrong.
All right, let's move into the night game on Sunday. We have the number 1 Kansas City Chiefs versus the number 3 Cincinnati Bengals. So, Katie, how are the Chiefs going to win this game?
Also, because I always note this every week when we do these two teams played each other in week 13 and Cincinnati won 27-24. Mm-hmm. They've played very tight games against each other. The Chiefs will win if their defense is the hero. They're second in sacks this year, and Cincinnati, like I mentioned last week, they've got that banged up offensive line. Take the pressure off a hurt Patrick Mahomes and make big plays to help your offense.
Yeah, so I'm going with here. So Buffalo wasn't able to expose Cincinnati's, hurt offensive line. They are not doing great right now. And they were not able to kind of penetrate that line and get to Joe Burrow. That's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs have to do. They are banged up. It is there. It's written in the stars for them. So they literally need to expose that dented offensive line that we see right there.
Absolutely.
All right. And the Bengals are going to win if?
Again, this isn't one of those things where, like, they can't win for other reasons or, like, I have them winning. And yes, but the Bengals are going to win if Patrick Mahomes isn't healthy enough or he could possibly re-aggravate that high ankle sprain even more so. I hate that to be the answer, but it really is a huge, huge, huge factor.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 years, quarterbacks have thrown for a combined 37 touchdown passes from outside the pocket in the playoffs, and Mahomes has 15 of those. If he's unable to move around and do his Patrick Mahomes thing and keep drives alive and bounce around, I don't see how the Chiefs will win this one.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to reverse what you said, but I'm going to throw it to the Bengals here. I do obviously have them winning this game. I have their offense being pretty big in this game. Joe Burrow's got to be able to move around in the space, especially if they do get to that offensive line. He needs to, like you just said with Patrick Mahomes, he's got to do the reverse. He's got to be able to do that for the Bengals there. He's got to be deep in the pocket or move himself up the way, and he has to hit multiple targets. We saw this last week. Chase, Mixon, Higgins, Hurst. He's got to hit his entire list of offensive targets here. Yeah. So I think that's exactly how the Bengals will win this game.
Yep.
The quarterback with the most passing yards will be?
I'm going to go with Joe Burrow.
I'm going with Joe Burrow as well. All right. The running back with the most rushing yards will be?
This is nothing against Joe Mixon. I'm going to go with Isaiah Pacheco.
Yeah, it's interesting. I put the two of them up next to each other, and I did look past at the most recent games. But like I'd said, gone back before for, the Bengals winning this game, they got to hit on so many areas. And I think Joe Mixon has proved himself to really rush for that team and be Joe Burrow's guy when he needs to be. And there might be some moments where, Kansas City does crash in and he's got to hand it off quickly. So I am going with Joe Mixon on this one.
All right.
The wide receiver with the most receiving yards will be?
This is a gut feeling. It's been a lot of Jamar Chase as the top receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals. I think this weekend it's going to be a game for T. Higgins.
Yeah, I love that pick. I do love T. Higgins. I am going with, though, what we've seen over and over again. Old arrival. It's not hard. I'm going with Jamar Chase here.
All right.
The MVP of the game will be?
Joe Burrow.
Well, to fall suit with just kind of big numbers here, I'm actually going to go with Jamar Chase on this one.
Okay.
All right. Final score prediction. What do you got?
I'm going with 28-24 Cincinnati. And my fun fact is that since 2014, there has been a total of 13 AFC or NFC title games that have been rematches from the regular season. And in those 13 games, the team that won during the regular season has gone 10-3 in that title game rematch. So that stat favors the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not why I'm picking them, but it is definitely an interesting fun fact.
Love when you bring your fun facts to the table. My final score of the game will be 30-27 Cincinnati.
We're pretty close.
Yeah, I think on both scores we were pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. It's going to be crazy. It'll be so crazy. But that is our game. It is now the point in the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, life, wine, playoffs. What do you got for us?
Well, for the Giants, we have entered our postseason now, so which has been a wild couple of days. It's only Wednesday. We lost on Saturday. It is Wednesday. And Katie, I was telling you earlier before the show, I have seen people on Twitter every day come out with a new mock draft. Just my full transparency. You guys need to get a freaking life and do something else. Every day it's new.
I appreciate people. I'm out here reading them, so you do you.
Listen, I'm reading them, Katie, but when it's the same person every day coming out with a new thing, my God, and it's multiple people, it's a lot. Like, I'll mock draft for you tomorrow if you want me to, but I'm going to take.
How much your picks change from day to day? Like, I don't understand.
It's wild. No, people are throwing all things. It's like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. They're throwing so much out there. But obviously a lot of conversation right now. Now that multiple teams have exited from last weekend, we have 4 teams left in the mix. There's a lot of offseason and a lot of discussion going on. So one of the things that I had seen, today that I made commentary on Twitter, and I had some good back and forth with some people on Twitter. And then, it's interesting because this had come up, I would say, like 6 weeks ago. So obviously DeAndre Hopkins' future in, Arizona is questionable. We're not
Right.
sure what's going on there. Pretty, missed a couple games, end of the season, not great for, the Cardinals. We're gonna see some new management there. We're gonna see some new, maybe potential new players, things like that. So who knows what's going on? So his future is up in the air. So one of the things we heard like 6 weeks ago, like could the Giants actually potentially pick him up mid-season as they were going towards potential playoff run and things like that? It's now coming back out again because, the Giants season is over and he was listed amongst, it was like the Giants, the Ravens, the Browns, I think, and two other teams that could potentially be interested in. And then I did also see today as well that they've already actually inquired about, potential things. So here's my opinion. And I already expressed this on Twitter today. The wide receiver position for the New York Giants, I feel lately over the past couple of seasons has been a bit of a band-aid. That's kind of how I want to explain it. And meaning they patch it up because they don't have a long-term answer. And you look at guys like Kadarius Toney, it didn't work out for us. We've had some injuries this year. We'll probably bring Sterling Shepard back next year, I think, for like morale purposes. But like Darius Slayton, like, did he really work out for us? We bring in Kenny Galladay for a 3-year. That clearly was the biggest bust in America. So I'm looking at like Kenny Galladay was a Band-Aid for us. He's put the Band-Aid on it. I like Isaiah Hodgins, but could he be coming in as a potential Band-Aid for us and things like that? So right now, I think that position, you're just kind of like covering it up. Like, this will heal us for the time being, but the Giants need long-term answers at wide receivers. So unfortunately, with DeAndre Hopkins, like, of course you would want a star player like that on your team, but with his age and the amount of money he's going to ask for, with the amount of money we're going to have to pay Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, you look at people like Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, who Andrew Thomas, where like money's coming up around the corner. It's getting very scary for us, and probably in 2-3 years, maybe actually 1 year. It's getting pretty scary. I just think that would be another quote unquote Band-Aid play for the New York Giants. And I'm cool with entering the draft this season and trying to put more faith into the future and building up on what could potentially come. Katie, I'm looking for a guy 7+ years, 10 years I'm looking for that wide receiver that we can count on and that could be there, that maybe DeAndre Hopkins of the past that could stay with us long term. So that's kind of my I'm feeling lately the Giants are using this, and I call it the Band-Aid approach. I think that's really what it is. And listen, if you're all for that glorified Band-Aid in DeAndre Hopkins, that's fine. Like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to him joining the New York Giants. I think I'm just over that process
I think the devil's advocate thing is that, yes, we are missing wide receivers just as a group, as a whole. But I think what people are looking at, like if they were to play devil's advocate with what you're saying, is that like the thing that the Giants are missing that a lot of other teams already have is like you have your like bona fide like number one wide receiver.
Right.
We don't have that. And to be fair, when we picked up Kenny Galladay in free agency, that's what we thought we were getting. That didn't work out. Okay. Right. So I get that. I just think, can you draft a rookie wide receiver to come in and immediately be your number one WR? Yes, it's difficult. And I think you're more so going to see it with a top draft pick, not the New York Giants at number 25.
Right.
So yeah, like if we were to go that route of DeAndre Hopkins, it is a Band-Aid, but what is like glaringly missing for the New York Giants is a number one wide receiver. And I just don't know if we can get it in the draft, especially at the spot we're at. So maybe it's not DeAndre Hopkins, because you did mention his age, and that is a factor. But we definitely gotta look at some of these guys, because we're missing as a whole, but we're definitely missing a stud number one.
Yeah, I just don't want to keep going around and around in this carousel, like it just constantly. Because when DeAndre Hopkins is done in 2 years, then we did the guy in the draft work out? No, because we didn't give him enough reps. Then we got to go to someone, you know what I mean? I just feel like we're on this never ending.
Whatever they do, they got to get it. Unfortunately, like there's the short leash. Like they got to get it right, because this is like the number one thing, in my opinion, that the Giants are like missing right now. So
absolutely.
My get it off my chest is just a nod to Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know the nominees for the NFL honors came out today, and he is one of 5, along with Brian Dable, one of 5 finalists for head coach of the year. And before this list come out, it was already in my mind that I feel like it should be Brian Dable or Doug Peterson. But I specifically want to say that I can't believe the job Doug Peterson has done with Trevor Lawrence, specifically Trevor Lawrence, and the Jacksonville Jaguars as a whole. Obviously, they were one of the worst teams in the league last year. Caitlin, you thought they would be like the worst team in the league this year. And it started off a little slow, and then they went on this incredible run, and they went to the playoffs. And just like the New York Giants, they won a playoff game against a team that, you know, maybe a lot of people thought they wouldn't beat in the Los Angeles Chargers. But it was so crazy, the difference between Urban Meyer with Trevor Lawrence in year 1 versus Doug Peterson with Trevor Lawrence in year 2. And I don't even want to chalk it up to like, oh, like Trevor Lawrence was a rookie and now he has a year under his belt and he's a sophomore and now he's like better. Yeah, I'm sure that did help, obviously, but I really feel like the major factor was the head coach. I think Urban Meyer literally did such a poor job that I was on this podcast, I was on this show saying, I think Trevor Lawrence might be a bust as that number 1 draft pick. I don't think he's a good NFL quarterback. I said that going into this season. And now look where we are. Like, and I know maybe I'm a little more high on him now than you are, but I do believe that 100% he's the franchise quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We both already said it on this show that we think that the Jags are back and that they can win their division again next year. Trevor Lawrence is similar. Like when I mentioned Josh Allen with his turnovers, yes, he's capable of throwing 4 touchdowns, but make sure you're not also throwing 4 picks in that same game. Most of the time, you will not come out with that W. You will get a loss on that one. But I just want to say hats off. I don't know who's going to win this award. I really do hope it's either him or Dable. Obviously, I want it to be Dable as a Giants fan. But if it ends up going to Doug Peterson, I know that it will have gone to a coach that absolutely 1,000% deserves it. So yeah, I guess my get off my chest can also be hats off to both of them because they totally exceeded expectations and did a hell of a job this season.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Doug Peterson, he was one of my other guys for this as well. Truly turned that team around. You know, I think for the Giants to get an award like this would be like, yay, finally. Like we made the right decision.
It would be great.
Talk about carousel. We've been on the goddamn head coach carousel for God knows how long.
Like we got our guy would be very.
But Jacksonville coming off someone like Urban Meyer, that's just embarrassing. I, as a fan, if I were a fan of the Jaguars, I would just be mortified. Like what were you saying?
It was a disaster, and a disaster is putting it lightly.
Yeah. So for them to get a guy like Doug Peterson and to see what he could do, we've already seen Doug Peterson take a team to the Super Bowl. We've already seen what he can do. And now he's doing what he needs to do in rebuilding this Jacksonville team, coming off of, imagine how much trust he had to build with that team coming off of Urban Meyer. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'd walk in that locker room and be like, listen, I don't even know what you guys had to do next year.
You're taking over a team that is a complete and utter disaster. And I know they were talking about this whole situation on ESPN the other day, and they were like, he had to come in with Trevor Lawrence, specifically Trevor Lawrence, and start with him from scratch.
Right.
And like throw out year 1 and just be like, we're going to do this all over again and we're going to do it right.
Yeah.
So hats off to him. Honestly, he did a phenomenal job.
Super impressive. So we'll definitely see, obviously, as we inch closer, we'll see what's going on there. So All right. Well, thank you guys, as always, for joining us for the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. Things you do not want to miss. I can't believe it, but the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion part 1 is on tonight at 8. It is already 8:40 here, though. But so hopefully set your DVRs. I gotta catch up there. So I'll catch up. Okay. Obviously, want to watch that reunion. And then Potomac is still on Sundays at 8 p.m. We've got Championship Sunday with the AFC and the NFC Championship games. We have San Francisco at Philadelphia at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, and then Cincinnati at Kansas City at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So get ready, do your food shopping early on Sunday, do what you need to do around the house, and get your butts into the couch at 3 p.m. because you are going to be glued from 3 p.m. to about, I would think, like 9:30, 9:45. And then listen, and then you just go to bed and then get ready for Monday. So
Monday it's Sunday night. Monday, we'll know who our Super Bowl matchup is going to be.
We will. And if you have a horse in the race, enjoy the weekend, have some drinks, celebrate if you want.
I got a freaking horse in the race. Go Niners. I am all in on 49ers beating the Eagles. So that's my horse.
So am I. I very much have a horse in the race.
Every Giants fan horse in the race right now is the San Francisco 49ers. So
I must say, thank the Lord that we are not seeing a NFC championship of the Cowboys and the Eagles, because then I just would have been like, you know what? I don't know.
So the Niners took care of Dallas for us, and they got to finish the job.
Thank goodness. Please finish it, because I can't hear it anymore.
No.
So, all right. Well, thank you guys, as always, for joining us. We will catch you next week. And like Katie said, we'll have some Super Bowl contenders for you next week. I can't believe it, but we will. But thank you guys, as always, and we will catch you next time. Good night.
Good night.